Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Baruch Hashem. Hold on a second. Let me bring up
Good,
the
good.
text. Okay. Maimar Chaf Aleph.
Yes.
The Sefer Yasher Benu Tam. Mevar. Yesh non Eitz Adam Tkufa Shonos Be'avodas Hashem. Famous thing. I never went to Sefer Yasher, but this is a famous statement of Rabbeinu Tam. Yesh non Yesh Bohem Yischaskus Be'avodas Baruch. People move in cycles. The days in which the people are mischasing Avodas Hashem. Maza Yesh non Yom Yishel. You may Rashis when he's Yonis. There are times of weakness, of sloth, maybe, and tests. The time describes them. Days of love are the good ones, days of hatred are the bad ones. The love and the hate fight each other. Once your one state is superior, the other one is superior. Other times the other. After analyzing this a great deal, says Rabbi Yerucham, by these days, he reveals us a high and lofty secret. And these words you will find included the entire Kol Soda on the entire secret of man and his perfection. The essence of love is equanimity. Obviously, you can have one-sided love. But if you have a reciprocal love, they have an equanimity between the two of them. In other words, there are aspects in their relationship in which they are equal with each other. Not equal to each other, but equal with each other. The same when their traits and their characteristics, they are similar, they are equal to each other. That's in English we say compatible. This unites them, and connects them together. There we say they love each other. Just like a person could say about a food, he loves the food or hates the food. Does that make any sense? How can you love a food or hate a food? But the meaning is to say there's some equanimity, some common denominator between the food or on the other hand, sinah. No, doesn't mean we detest him. The true intent he rubs up against us. He goes against our characteristics. And the oppositions or the opposing qualities to the two of us, we call sinah, called sinah. Admor Zatzal, the author said, "Shnei sonim b'tachlis hasina ovim zelazeh yoser me'abas adam lebehema." It's very interesting insight. I remember this. Two enemies who can hate each other with the ultimate hatred, they still can love each other, I guess, more than a love a person to a human being, which is, I'm sorry, to an animal. You need to an animal. Obviously, it's not always true. That people love their pets more than other human beings, but it's a possibility in the following sense. The greatest enemies, even though they're tremendously different character aspects in the character, more in common than a man and an animal. So, for example, you find that somebody who you truly detest, when push comes to shove, you have to determine whether you're going to save him or the animal at a time when you're both, they're both in danger. You probably will go for the human being, even though you detest him. Because in the abstract, at least, there's more of an equality, an equanimity between human beings than there is between humans and animals. Okay, so I think that's what he means to say. V'amru bavos, ba'korata notes. You're created without. Nobody asks you whether you want to be created. So mention it's yotzer shaladam who chibur shtei ksavos or rechokos mitachlis or richuk zemizeh. But a person's created, this connects two distant poles, ultimately distant poles. In which there's no equanimity. The Sonim they hate each other ultimately. The body is the soul and the body. Very difficult for the soul to connect with the body, to be connected with the body. Let's imagine a great tzaddik. They put him in a prison. Yachadim show they lie together with bandits of the night. He has to look constantly at all of their corruption and their degradation. And we have a concept of the great anguish, which is the tzaddik faces. This is nothing. Relative to the anguish of the holy soul, when it gets enclosed in the body. And the shama is a phrase from the Tanya, which is very hard to translate. I'm not even sure why the Stockton used this phrase, but the it is something which has been distributed from God above. Chelak is a very difficult word to translate. It doesn't mean a part of God. It's a misconception. So can you see the neshama sani asisi? Right? God made the neshamas. I shall chuba Rabbi Yonah Shar Os Gimel. Gimel kulam dosu shal Kadosh Baruch Hu. Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim ad nafach mideli nafach. Hashem breathed from His own aspect, so it's only a midas of Hashem. Lumasa guf shafov and ibzeh. On the contrary, the body is degraded and is low and degraded. Sheker b'tarmi is deceitful, false and deceitful. Shos kamayim avla drinks injustice like water. The antithesis of Shama together. Also show my name, like it says, the fire and the water made peace temporarily between the two of them. Unity of the water, the fire and the water by the Makas Barad is only because of the secret of peace. Is a unique quality which can bring those which are distant in quality, in definition and in character together. It's like fire and water. When they meet up with each other, the other one tries to tell the other one to leave the place. Right, water and fire can't live in the same space. Now, Ishik Bar, if the fire is victorious, the water will be evaporated by the fire. You have the opposite. The water will extinguish the fire. The body and soul is similar. Soul and body are similar. The neshama goveres, if the neshama is supreme, it diminishes the body, weakens it. On the other hand, if the body is supreme, darkens the neshama. There's an eternal hatred and argument between them. It's impossible to have any comment, any meeting of the mind, so to speak. The when they smell each other, when they have the same danger with the other, which of course, obviously that's the way it should be, but it's not, because they are put together and they do live together. We're just talking about what would be without this idea of shalom, which we're going to have to evidently develop. None of you perceive God and they ate and drank. Because of Rashi, it doesn't say that specifically was not about view. It says this Canaan. But in any event, that they were looking at God with a coarse heart while eating and drinking. They know position was so good. We don't understand so. No concept. What does it mean that they saw out of eating and drinking? What were permitted, and perhaps we can grasp to a certain extent. relative to the vision of the war they saw, that relative to seeing this the depiction of Hashem, they shouldn't have had any equanimity with their bodies. Where in this respect, they were very different than the vision of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu's body was elevated to the point that there was no contradiction between his body and the vision. But they had a contradiction. Since they didn't, so to speak, abandon the body at that point, which is called in Sfarim Spashtus Agashmius. Remove the Gashmius in order to experience the Nevuah, which any Navi besides Moshe Rabbeinu has to do. Therefore, they were lively to death. And there was so lack of equanimity. It was so dangerous to the point that in this contradiction between the body of Navi and the Machzeh Nevuah, the vision of Nevuah is B'kishu B'chiyu Misa. That was still together, brought to death. If we were able to be compartmentalized, even though they, so to speak, hate each other, wouldn't they endanger each other? Even the greatest enemies, like water and fire and water, if they're just not going to meet each other, then if they'll stay separate. So the existing ones won't bother the other. The perception of God. Interesting. From this, we learned that a person must flee, like Moshe Rabbeinu initially did by the snap, from a level that he's not prepared for, because it's very dangerous. You show them great and lofty views. If he feels that he's not prepared for this, properly prepared, Allah has to look away from them. That's what I just said. He's the Moshe by the snap. Although at that point it was still beginning the process. He's not yet at that level. And even Moshe Rabbeinu's body and soul can be sonim. It's better they shouldn't meet up. Their meeting would be in danger, a danger. So Moshe Rabbeinu chose, was allowed to stay at his previous state. After this introduction, which is cryptic and everybody sees as a strange medrash. Amar Shabbos Peiches, Amar Shimon Levi, Shosh Olam Moshe Ramorim and Moshe went up to Shemayim. Amar Malach El Shoysim Nekosh Baruch Hu. Malachim said to Hashem, Ribbon Shal Mali Ludi Shabeinenu. What is this son of man doing amongst us? Amar Makabel Torah. He said to them, they can't accept the Torah. Amar Love, they said, Rechem the Gnuz, this precious treasure, Gomer, Kule. Why would you give it to human beings? What are people? You should remember them. Amar Kosh Baruch Hu, Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Achzelem Shuv responded. Amar Love, he said, they're going to burn me with smoke in their mouths. Amar Choz B'chisei, hold on to my throne of glory. Torah Shator Nosili Maksiba. What is it saying this Torah? So it says about different things about Yitzias Mitzrayim, about not stealing, etc. I'm letting you time me right. It said Shu Chule Shu Maksiba Zachar Chule Chabed Chule Shabbos Kibravim Lo Tirtzach. All these things don't apply to angels. Yadu Lokash Baruch they can see Hashem Chule Miad Kol Echad Be'Echad Nasim Lo Oiv. Immediately each and every one of my Malachim became his friend. Muscle Dover and gave him something. He took these gifts to mankind. Malchamavis also came the secret of the Ketores to stop plagues. This statement is like a closed riddle, an enigmatic riddle from beginning to end. Okay, the question of Malachim maybe we can understand to a very limited extent. Moshe was answer, Matibo, what does it mean? Machidesh, what did he what new idea did he tell them they didn't know? So they considered him. The guy Marion is fully available to PM. What does it mean that they're going to burn him up with the fire in the mouth? Smoke in the mouth. What was it that they hated each other? Come to before he responded. They changed by his answer into love. What's the mad concept? Peace with Malachim, with the Malachim. Kind of what Malachim doing in the first place? All of it is sealed and difficult to understand. So this goes on and on. So I think we'll end with a cliffhanger.
Okay.
Okay. And we're gonna.
Yeah, very good.
It's a great piece. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Hashem.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.